I would like to say it has been the privilege of my career to serve as the CEO of BBC News and to work with our brilliant team of journalists. I stepped down over the weekend because the buck stops with me. But I'd like to make one thing very clear. BBC News is not institutionally biased. That's why it's the world's most trusted news provider.
The BBC is facing a major leadership crisis after both its Director General, Tim Davie, and new CEO Deborah Turness resigned on November 9th. The resignations follow intense criticism over the broadcaster's editing of a speech by U.S. President Donald Trump. A leaked internal report accused the BBC of bias in its coverage of Trump, the Israel-Hamas war, and transgender issues. The report, written by a former standards advisor, was leaked to the Daily Telegraph, fueling widespread backlash. The controversy centers on a BBC Panorama documentary that edited parts of Trump's January 6, 2021 speech before the Capitol riot. Critics reportedly said that the edit misleadingly cut out the part where Trump told supporters to protest peacefully. Instead, the documentary spliced together two separate lines, making it appear Trump was urging people to fight like hell. The full transcript from that day shows Trump also said protesters should act peacefully and patriotically. Davie said in a letter to staff that stepping down after 5 years was entirely his decision and a matter of accountability. He acknowledged that mistakes have been made and said as Director General, he must take ultimate responsibility. Turness said the Trump edit controversy had reached a point where it was damaging the institution she loved. She said leaders in public life must be accountable, which is why she decided to resign. Turness also pushed back on claims that BBC News is institutionally biased, calling them absolutely wrong.
Deborah, have you failed the BBC?
I would like to say it has been the privilege of my career to serve as the CEO of BBC News and to work with our brilliant team of journalists. I stepped down over the weekend because the buck stops with me. But I'd like to make one thing very clear. BBC News is not institutionally biased. That's why it's the world's most trusted news provider. And if you'd excuse me,
why did you fail to deal with the mistakes that were made?
And see my teams. Thank you so much for being here.
Do you think that the journalists are corrupt, like President Trump says? Do you think the journalists?
Of course, our journalists aren't corrupt. Our journalists are hard-working people who strive for impartiality, and I will stand by their journalism.
Is there institutional bias at the BBC?
There is no institutional bias. Mistakes are made, but there's no institutional bias.
But why weren't the mistakes dealt with on Trump, on anti-Semitism, on women's rights?
I'm sure that story will emerge, but for now I'm going to go in and see our teams.
Do you think the board acted against you?
Thank you so much for being here.
Do you think the board acted against you?
Thank you. We're going in.
Thank you.
Trump reacted on Truth Social, thanking the Daily Telegraph for exposing corrupt journalists at the BBC. He accused the network of trying to step on the scales of a presidential election, calling it a terrible thing for democracy. White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt mocked the situation online, posting shot and chaser headlines about the resignations. Pressure had been mounting for weeks as the leaked report highlighted deeper cultural and editorial issues within the BBC. The report also cited anti-Israel bias in the BBC's Arabic service and internal disputes over coverage of transgender issues. Trump welcomed the departures, calling Davie and Turness very dishonest people for misleading editing of his speech.
The Democrats' obstructionism will break the record for the longest government shutdown in American history tonight. The Democrats are intentionally hurting American families, workers, and businesses with this shutdown to fight for free health care for illegal aliens and to appease their radical left-wing base. And it's a total disgrace. This past weekend, Americans traveling to weddings, funerals, vacations, and meetings faced significant flight disruptions at airports across the country because of staffing shortages. On Sunday alone, more than 5,000 flights traveling to and from U.S. airports were delayed. Since the Democrat shutdown began, 4 times as many staffing shortages have been reported at air traffic control facilities compared to last year. TSA checkpoint wait times ballooned past 3 hours at Houston's George Bush Intercontinental Airport, with some passengers enduring up to 5 hours in line. At nearby William P. Hobby Airport in Texas, security wait times are routinely exceeding 1 hour. More than 13,000 air traffic controllers are continuing to work without pay. Because of the Democrats, these men and women who keep our airspace safe and moving will miss a second paycheck in a row this Friday if Democrats refuse to open the government. Let me be clear to our incredible air traffic controllers across the country. President Trump and Republicans want you to get your paychecks. They want you to be paid. Please call on your Democrat senators and tell them to side with President Trump and Republicans to vote to reopen the government. Our nation's 4 largest airlines, United, Delta, American, and Southwest, have now all endorsed the Republican, nonpartisan, clean funding bill to end the government shutdown. Major unions, collectively representing tens of thousands of pilots, have also joined the airlines in calling on Democrats to pass the clean, nonpartisan CR. The travel industry is also imploring Democrats to end the shutdown and reopen the government. Nearly 500 companies and groups in the travel business, including casinos, hotels, and convention bureaus, signed a public letter warning that America's travel economy has already lost $4 billion due to this Democrat shutdown, and they have called for the Republican CR to be passed, saying Americans expect and deserve a fully functioning federal government during the peak holiday travel season. Never before have we seen private industry and union leadership so unified on the same issue, rallying behind Republicans in such a vocal way. The Democrats have completely lost the plot. They are endangering the safety, prosperity, and livelihoods of millions of Americans. It's well past time Democrats do what they did 13 times under Joe Biden and pass the clean funding bill extension. All we need are 5 Democrat senators to put country over party and vote to end this reckless shutdown. In other news, tomorrow will mark the 1-year anniversary of President Trump's historic election victory, where he won nearly 80 million votes, the popular vote, in all 7 swing states. This was the ultimate poll on November 5th. The president secured a mandate to make America great again, and he has delivered in record time. Never before have we had a president who has kept their promises like President Trump has. I'd like to go over a few of those with you. In less than 10 short months, President Trump signed the largest middle-class tax cut in history, including no tax on tips, overtime, and Social Security to put more money back into the pockets of the American people. The president ended the southern border invasion of the Biden administration, made our border the most secure in history, and he is carrying out the largest mass deportation campaign of illegal aliens in our nation's history to protect our homeland, just as promised.